Hi and welcome back to our page. Let me tell you about a pattern I saw again and again when we were going through one of our providers' staff files. I would ask to see the files and the registered manager would bring them out, confident. DBS certificates were all there, references, 2 for every staff member and 1 for the most recent employer. Right to work documentation, immaculate. Training matrix, colour coordinated and up to date, showing every mandatory course completed. Everything pretty much looked perfect. However, I then asked one question, and 9 times out of 10, the confidence would drain away. The question was, show me how you know that staff caring for Mrs. Williams, who has diabetes, early stage dementia, and a history of falls are specifically competent to manage those conditions. And that's the gap that catches 80% of providers. It's not about whether you've done recruitment checks, it's about whether you can demonstrate that the right people are caring for the right clients, with evidence of competency in the specific conditions those clients have. Your training matrix might show that Sarah completed dementia training in March, but is Sarah allocated to support Mr. Davis, who has dementia? And was the training assessed for competency, or did she just attend a course? In this episode, I'm going to show you exactly what inspectors look for in staff files, where most providers failed on this one critical point, and how to build what I call a client conditioning training map, a system that links every person you support to the staff who are demonstrating competency to care for them. That's the difference between having staff files and having safe staffing evidence. First, let's cover the foundations, the thing that absolutely must be in every staff file. I'll go through these quickly because most providers have these sorted, but if you don't, this is your baseline. The CQC Regulation 19 and Schedule 3 of the Health and Social Care Act, every person you employ must have a file containing specific recruitment information. This isn't optional, it's a legal requirement, and gaps here can result in breach of regulation. Here's the checklist. A DBS certificate at an enhanced level with adults barred list checks. Make sure it's current and you verified it through the update service or obtained a new one. 2 references. 1 must be from the most recent employer. If someone hasn't worked before, you need character references, but document why employment references weren't possible. Next is right to work documentation. For UK nationals, this might be a passport or birth certificate, and for sponsored workers, you need visa documentation with expiry dates tracked. You also need full employment history. Every gap must be explained in writing. If someone took 2 years out to care for a family member, that should be documented and signed by the applicant. Next is proof of identity, passport, driving license, or other photographic ID. And health declaration, so a self-declaration of fitness to undertake the role. And you also need your application form. Interestingly, CQC look for whether your application asks about learning needs or disabilities. If someone has dyslexia, how will you support them? This shows you're thinking about reasonable adjustments. And crucially, all of this must be obtained and verified before the person starts work. Not during the first week, not when you get around to it, before. If someone starts delivering care before their DBS clears, that's a significant concern. Inspectors will ask to see start dates and compare them to documentation dates. If there's a gap, you need to explain what supervision arrangements were in place. Beyond recruitment, staff files need to tell the ongoing story of the person's development and competence. This includes induction records, so evidence of a structured induction program. For new care workers, this should align with the care certificate standards. From 2025, Standard 16 has been updated to include specific requirements around supporting people with learning disabilities and autistic people. It also includes training certificates, so all mandatory training plus role-specific training relevant to the people you support. There's also supervision records, which are regular one-to-one supervisions, and CQC recommend monthly during probation, quarterly thereafter, and these shouldn't be tick box exercises. They should show genuine reflection on practice, discussion of any concerns, and identified development needs. You also have your competency assessments, and this is where we start moving beyond what most providers have. Competency isn't just about attending training, it's about demonstrating you can apply what you've learned. There's also appraisal records, so your annual reviews that look back at performance and forward development goals, and spot check records. For care workers, regular observations of their practice in the field. You can't know if someone is competent if you've never seen them work. Now here's the thing, most providers we work with have most of these elements. Maybe not perfectly organised, maybe with some gaps, but broadly, they understand what needs to be in a staff file. So why do inspectors still identify staffing concerns? Because there's a fundamental question that most staff files can't answer. CQC guidance on staffing is clear. They ask, do people have their assessed needs, preferences and choices met by staff with the right qualifications, skills, knowledge and experience? Read that carefully. It's not asking whether your staff are generally trained, It's asking whether the specific people you support have their specific needs met by staff with specific relevant skills. And this is person-centered staffing. It's what most providers can't evidence. And let me give you a concrete example. Mrs. Thompson receives care from your service. She has type 2 diabetes requiring insulin. She's living with early stage vascular dementia and she has a history of falls. And she's also profoundly deaf in her left ear. Her care plan identifies all these needs. Her risk assessments cover each one, and that's good. Now here's what an inspector will do. They'll look at your rota, who's actually providing care to Mrs. Thompson. Let's say it's Sarah, James and Priya, your regular carers for her calls. Then they'll cross-reference. They'll ask to see evidence that Sarah, James and Priya have received diabetes training, specifically including insulin administration. They've had dementia awareness training and ideally, training specific to vascular dementia. They've been trained in falls prevention and how to use any equipment Mrs. Thompson has. They know about her hearing loss and how to communicate effectively with her. There is also documented competency evidence, not just certificates, but observed practice or assessments, showing they can apply this knowledge. Can your systems answer that question quickly and confidently? For most providers, the answer is no. They have training records showing who's done what, they have rotas showing who's gone where, but there's no systemic link between the two. No way to quickly demonstrate that the staff allocated to each client have those specific competencies to those clients' needs. And that's the gap. So, how do you close the gap? I'm going to introduce you to a system I call the Client Condition Training Map. Concept is simple but powerful. For every person you support, you create a clear chain of evidence. Step 1, the person's conditions. List every health condition, need, or characteristic that requires specific staff. For example, Mrs. Thompson, type 2 diabetes with insulin, vascular dementia, falls risk, and hearing impairment. 2, required training for each condition. Identify what training staff need, whether it's diabetes management, including insulin, dementia awareness with focus on vascular type, falls prevention, and equipment use. And lastly, communications with people with hearing loss. Step 3, allocated staff who is actually allocated to support this person. Not everyone on your team, specifically the staff who provide their regular care. Step 4, training evidence. For each allocated staff member, link to their training records showing completion of the required courses. Step 5, competency evidence. And this is crucial, evidence that they can actually apply. And competency assessments, spot checks, observations, supervision records discussing their care of this specific person. In practice, this could be as simple as a spreadsheet. 1 tab per client, showing their conditions, required training, allocated staff, and links or references to the evidence. Or if you use care management software, it might be built into your system, a way to link training records to client profiles. The format matters less than the principle. You need to be able to answer that inspector's question instantly. Show me how you know the staff caring for this person are competent to meet their specific needs. You can pull up a document that shows the chain, condition, required training, allocated staff, training completed, and competency assessed. You're demonstrating safe staffing in a way that most providers simply cannot match. Now, I've mentioned competency several times. I want to be really clear about the difference between training and competency, because this is where providers trip up. Training is input. It's the course attended, the e-learning completed, and the certificate printed. Competency is output. It's evidence that the person can apply what they learned in real care situations. A certificate proves someone sat through a training session. It doesn't prove they understood it, remember it, or can do it. NICE guidelines are clear on this. They recommend annual competency assessments for staff administering medicines, not just annual training, annual assessments of whether they can actually do it safely. Same principle applies across all care tasks. So, what does competency evidence look like? Firstly, observed practice. A supervisor watching a staff member deliver care and documenting what they saw. There's practical assessments, testing whether someone can demonstrate a skill correctly, and knowledge checks, so questions that test understanding, not just attendance. There's also supervision discussions, so records showing the staff member can reflect on their practice and describe how they apply their training. There's also scenario-based questions, so what would you do if? Conversations documented in supervisions. When CQC speaks to your staff, and remember, they often conduct hour-long phone interviews, they're testing competency. Can this person describe what person-centered care means? Can they explain how they would respond to a safeguarding concern? And do they know the people they care for? If your staff sound like they are reciting a script, that raises concerns. Inspectors want to hear authentic understanding that comes from genuine competency development, not just course completion. Let me walk you through how an inspector actually assesses staffing. Understanding this helps see why Client Condition Training Map is a powerful tool. First, inspectors will typically request a sample of care plans. Let's say they choose 5 clients at random. For each client, they'll identify the key conditions and needs for the care plan and risk assessments. They're building a picture of what specific competencies staff need to support that person safely. They'll also ask who provides care to this person. Show me the rota. Then, show me the staff files for those people. Specifically, show me training relevant to this client's condition. Then, show me you've assessed their competency and show me supervision records that demonstrate they're being supported in line with the person they work with. You see what's happening? They're triangulating. They're checking what's in your care plan, what's in your training records and what's in your rotas, and what's in your competency. Evidence all tells the same story. If Mrs. Thompson's care plan says she needs staff trained in insulin administration, but the staff on her rota don't have the training, that's a gap. If they have the training, but there's no competency assessment, that's a weaker position. If they have training, competency evidence, and supervision records discussing their care, that's robust. The client condition training map gives you the ability to show this chain instantly, rather than scrambling through different systems trying to piece it together on the day. So, what should you actually do? Let me give you the 5 practical steps you can start this week. Action 1. Audit your client base for condition-specific training requirements. Go through every person you support, list the conditions and needs they require, and if they require specific staff knowledge, such as diabetes, dementia, epilepsy, mental health conditions, mobility, equipment, communication needs, peg feeding, or stoma care, whatever's relevant to your clients. Then build a master list of the condition-specific training your service needs to provide. Action 2. Map your staff to your clients. For each person you support, identify who actually provides their care. Not everyone on your team, the specific regular carers. These are the people who must have the relevant competencies. Action 3. Create your client condition training map. Build the link. For each client, their conditions, the required training, the allocated staff, and the status of that training for each staff member. This immediately shows where you have gaps. Action 4. Build competency evidence into your supervision processes. Stop treating supervision as a general chat. Use it to assess and document competency and ask questions specific to the clients that staff member supports. Tell me about Mrs. Jones and how you manage her diabetes. What would you do if you notice signs of a hypo? And document these answers. Action 5. Increase spot checks and observe practice. You cannot assess competency from the office. Get out on the care calls and watch your staff work and document what you observe. This is evidence that you're actively monitoring competency, not just assuming it. Here's the truth about the staff file gap. It's not that providers don't care about safe staffing, it's that the systems they use don't make the connection visible. Training is tracked separately from rotas are managed separately from client needs, and the link between the person receiving care and the evidence that staff are competent to provide that care get lost. The client condition training map makes the link explicit. It transforms "we train our staff" into "we can demonstrate that the specific staff caring for each specific person have the specific competencies those people need." That's person-centered staffing. That's what CQC are looking for under the Safe and Effective Staffing Quality Statement. And that's what separates services that hope they're safe services that can prove they're safe. In the next episode, we're tackling safeguarding, and I'm going to tell you about a phrase that I heard constantly when working with a specific provider. A phrase that providers say thinking it makes them sound good, but actually makes inspectors immediately nervous. And if you've ever said, "We've never had any safeguarding concerns," you need to watch that episode. Thank you for watching, and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video if you found it helpful.